Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube, back with another Dark Shadows video for you guys and gals. I have a little fun theory for you guys that I'm going to read here. You know, are the Collins family from space? Now, personally, I don't think so, but this is going to be a fun sort of exploratory video. Now, I'm specifically, sorry, going to delve into Isaac Collins. I'm going to read from the wiki for once. I rarely do this. Okay, so here we go. Isaac Collins was alive from 1639 to the 1700s. Was the founder of the Collins fortune in Maine. He started the family fishing fleet as well as the founder of the town of Collinsport. Biography. His early life, Isaac Collins was born in 1639 to the wealthy Collins family near England. It doesn't say specifically where in England or what island off of England. This is near England. So that's rare, very odd. And was the oldest brother of Amadeus Collins in the 1690s. That's 1690s. He became a fisherman and married Annabella Collins. Again, no maiden name given. Founding Collinsport, Isaac crossed the ocean in a small sailing ship in 1690 with his wife Annabella Collins and infant son and landed in Frenchman's Bay in Maine. He eventually found a small harbor nearby and started building what would become the town of Collinsport. Legacy. Isaac Collins died sometime after 1700. The year his brother Amadeus, Carolyn's daughter, thought her uncle Roger looked like Isaac, a portrait of Isaac hung in the Collinwood drawing room, in 1967. Isaac's spirit was one of many to return and haunt Jameson Collins and Ivanka Romano at Collinwood Christmas. The Crimson Peer. Isaac, featured in the Big Finish audio drama The Crimson Peer, was portrayed by Roy Finnis. Uh, Quotes: Isaac was a brave man crossing the ocean in a small sailing ship. He landed right near here in Frenchman's Bay. And he came to Collinsport and he liked it. And he decided to stay, only it wasn't called Collinsport then, because there was nothing here, just a harbor and trees and lots of fish. Imagine having a town named after you. Episode 17 is one of the quotes from. So there are some things to get into when you think about Isaac. First of all, he had a brother, right? And his brother, Amadeus Collins, was the older brother of Isaac. So that's important. So Isaac isn't your firstborn male Collins. There's a lot of questions unanswered here before I get into the whole outer space thing. Number one, why why if again this family just doesn't become a fishing family, right? It's not like it says he fortune in Maine. He started the family fishing fleet as well as the founder of the town of Collinsville. The family fishing fleet. So that begs the question, what was Amadeus doing? I'm serious. It isn't the older brother who discovers a new town, crosses the ocean and discovers this this town where there was nothing there but a port and and some trees. It's the younger brother. It's Isaac. Now, it I'm going to look up Amadeus real quick because there's something I want to say. So, Amadeus Collins was born in 1692. Or sorry, no, not 1692. Sorry, Amadeus Collins was born in 1650. That's interesting. He was the primary prosecutor and judge in the trial of Judah Zachary, which took place in 1692. Now, keep in mind, Collinsport is not a thing. Is not supposed to be a thing. Keep that in mind. Early life. Amadeus Collins was born near England sometime before, again, near England. We don't have a precise, we just have near England. Sometime before 1650 to the wealthy Collins family, and was the youngest brother of Isaac Collins and founded Collins Point, Maine, along with his brother in 1690. So, according to this biography, they both found it. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. And I'm going to point out something too here soon. Early life. Amadeus Collins, it was 1650. Or got the curse. In 1962, Amadeus was responsible for coercing one of Judah's followers, Miranda Duvall, aka Angelique, into testifying against Judah and ultimately pushing forward a guilty verdict. Worked out well for her. It did. His involvement with the trial was the reason Judah vowed revenge on the family. That's episode 1140. Death. In 1700, Amadeus had died. His brother Isaac said he'd been in bad spirits for a number of years and considered it a blessing that he had passed away. So, by all accounts, Amadeus dies first. Okay. Background and information and notes. Amadeus was the great uncle of Barnabas Collins and Sarah Collins. So the great uncle, which means he was the brother of their grandfather Isaac and the ancestor of Millicent and Daniel. So this is the Amadeus side, as my buddy Patrick McCray has pointed out, is where Millicent and Daniel Collins are descended from. Barnabas's side of the family, Barnabas Sarah, are descended from Isaac's side of the family. They're one's one side, one's the other. One's from one brother, one's from the other. Again, there's not a lot of, you might say this is a lot of information. Not really. Never tells who their mother and father are either. So here's my fun little theory. Near England. Really, the only real documentation we have of them being anywhere near England is from them. And considering how accurate the Collins family are with their history, or like to be with their history, can we really take it at their word? No, we can't. That's number one. Again, I'm going to make a case for and a case against. Because again, there's other things you have to put in consideration when you're talking about stuff like this. And I'll get into that consideration as well in this video. This is going to be a long video. Now, keep in mind, as I said, it's Isaac who sets sail. But now, according to history, it's both brothers who found it. But yet Isaac gets the credit. Let me tell you why they could be from space, both the brothers. Number one, we never know who their parents are. And even if it were revealed in Big Finish, that's not canon. Okay? No offense to them. No offense to Big Finish. No offense to anybody who worked on it. That's not canon. And neither is what I'm saying to a degree. Like, I'm not, me saying they could be from space isn't canon either. It's just my opinion. we never know who their mother and father are. We don't learn about it. We do learn about the Bedford atrocities and dark shadows. That we learn about. Uh, we do learn about Barnabas's dad. Uh, we learn very little about Isaac other than what we already just told you. What's written in there is what we learn about it. Seriously, in the series, that little. So when you think about they discovered a town, let me give you a little theory I have here. They didn't discover the town; they already knew it was there. Let me explain why I mean by that. They could have crash landed on with their big gigantic city called Atlantis on Earth. The city is sinking, and they escape in these boats. They have this. They they escape, and They find Collinwood. They build it. They then go to England and falsify some records. They have money, outer space money, but they have the power to make it regular currency. They do that. Then they can say, "Well, we were born near England." Yeah, it's not exactly pinpointing things on a map now. If you say you're born near England, near's a big word. Like near could be anywhere, because you're not saying I'm born near London. I'm not born near um you know this there or that. I'm born near England. You could be from Wales. You could be from yeah, that's right. Or you could be from nowhere and just say you're born from near England, right? People falsify records. Okay, and I'm not saying the Collins family did this, but considering their history and how inaccurate they love to be, it's a possibility. So they begin building this town, which it would make sense why the Leviathan are their natural enemy. Maybe the Leviathan knew about the Collins family. Maybe the Leviathans are the reason the Collins family came to Earth to get away from them. They didn't want to fight. Not that they couldn't fight him. They didn't want to fight him. But the Leviathan followed. It's a possibility. Maybe also the Leviathans were already here and began stalking the Collins family. That's another possibility. Not saying it's an actuality, but possibility. Also, keep in mind, like I said, we don't know who their parents are. Their wives are the only thing. The most we hear about, I guess, lineage, if you will, is their marriages are that. Who was it? Joshua's marriage. Joshua and Naomi's marriage was arranged. So it does it leave you to presume that Isaac and Annabelle were arranged. I mean, you could say that, but it doesn't actually say that verbatim in the wiki or even in the series itself. It never says that their marriage was arranged. It could have been. I'm not saying it was or wasn't. Also, keep in mind that one of these family members is going to piss off a warlock um, and get their family cursed, get that side of the family cursed. Um, you also have Barnabas's side of the family, and Barnabas, meets this beautiful girl in named Angelique in Martinique. They hit it off really, really, really well, if you know what I'm saying. They had sex, um, probably many times. And eventually Barnabas had to leave, and he did. He met Josette at some point in time, and then they fell in love. And then, as he, is engaged to her, Angelique shows back up as one of her servants. It's like, oh shit. Does anything I say prove they're from space? No, absolutely not. I do think it's a possibility because they're so inaccurate with their family history, and some of their inaccuracies are on purpose. That's one thing I want to point out before I point out the against. That now I'm going to make a point for the against too with this very every lie they tell in their own history is literally the person who's deciding what kind of history they're going to have. With Joshua, for example, Joshua, who's the head of the household. So it's written in the Collins family history book that Barnabas will go to England. It's why no one believes he's going to die. But when he does die, that's what Joshua does. Oh, he went to England. We're not going to say he died of some. No, I'm not. Because Joshua is so proud, he does not want the scandal. This is what kind of this is what kind of piece of shit Joshua Collins is. Okay, he is not father of the year material. He's not even father of his own goddamn time period material. Um, he just isn't. He's not winning any awards. Okay, um, bless you. And also, he when he makes that decision, it just shocks the hell out of everybody. Josette, and then, her Aunt Natalie, everybody. It shocks the world. It shocks not the world, the Collins family circle, if you will. And they can't believe it. Like, that girl's book was accurate, at least to that degree. So there's a lie in there. Then there's Sarah's death. Sarah's death is the only one actually recorded correctly. Naomi's death is actually not recorded in the book. It says Naomi died later. It doesn't say Naomi died initially in the 1700s. Her death is written in that she died way, way older, which is very interesting. Because, again, Joshua was not a man who likes the scandal. He doesn't want scandals revealed. So a lot of what's in the Collins family history book is by their own doing, is by their own the person's in charge decision making, which it leads you to believe, okay, if this Collins is like this, who else was like this prior to him? Were the people he's descended from, was Isaac like this? Was his uncle Amadeus like this? Possibly, probably, most likely. So how can we take certain things as fact? Now, we know the Bedford atrocities are a fact. What we don't know the extent of from the Bedford atrocities is we see, and I'm not disputing Judas Zachary was some sort of evil. He was. But why did they specifically target Judas Zachary other than the heads getting taken off? What was the big deal? Like, seriously, because I mean, crazy stuff happening back then was common. I mean, look, witchcraft. You don't want somebody to perform witchcraft, but who's he performing witchcraft on? Really, it doesn't. Again, were they Leviathans? We don't know. Could be, right? But now they want to execute this guy. And again, family history. I think the biggest difference with Amadeus' side is it gets forgot about. And it gets forgot about because it doesn't get wrote about. That it doesn't get wrote about to a degree. It later it's in another book. Okay. So sorry, I did get wrote about, my apologies. So when they find the book it gets wrote into, oh yeah, that's the head of Judah Zachary. Well, how could no one else tell the family that the head of Judah, they're aware of the head of Judah Zachary? Why is no one other family member aware of this? That's the biggest question, right? Because The family that's living in Collinwood now isn't descended from Joshua, it's descended straight from Amadeus. So why is no one aware of it? No one's aware of it because it was covered up. They didn't want to know about it. They didn't think the head would be found. But again, another thing too to point to sort of their hours they could be from outer space is the family is obsessed with darkness, from black magic to the occult to just strange things. The Collins family have listen. I've seen Clive Barker's Hellraiser. Okay, they make Pinhead's obsession look weak. Okay, I'm surprised the Collins family don't have the Hellraiser puzzle box, and I wouldn't doubt if they did. So their obsessions could pinpoint their from space. The fact that we don't know who their mother and father are, certain mothers and fathers records aren't exactly posted. We finally realize that both brothers discovered Collinsport, yet Isaac gets the credit. Why does Isaac get? Again, the younger brother gets the credit, not the older brother. Was it the younger brother's initiative? We don't know. There are many things where we are not told about the two about Isaac and Amadeus. And I do think there's things we do need to be told about them. It's something Mark B. Perry could definitely get into, no matter what he decides to do. Now let me go the other way, because I think I've made a good point, hopefully. The other way is this. Let's look at the written history first. The written history could just be to protect the family. Now there are things that, because remember, Edith Collins is going to tell this secret. She's going to reveal the secret to Edward. I'm going to say this. Edith, no matter if Barnabas shows up there or not, Edith is going to die. The secret never gets revealed. Truthfully, I don't feel the secret ever got revealed. And by the way, the same the same Edith dies in 1840. It's like Jesus. Oh my God, we killed Edith. So we killed Kenny. Um, that joke's funny. So we have a moment that she does not reveal Barnabas' secret to Edward. She dies. And I do think she's never meant to reveal that secret. I think she would have died of Quentin trying to kill her, and Quentin would have just said, "Oh, she had a heart attack." um, could be, right? Also, not really. I do think Quentin would have killed her. Also, keep in mind, when we again Joshua is more easy to explain. He has so much pride, right? The one that's hardest to explain is the 1840, why nobody's bringing up this Judah Zachary. No, like until when the head arrives, when the head arrives, when Desmond brings the head of Judah Zachary, no one mentions it. No one says, "Oh, that's the head of Judah Zachary," until Ben sees it. Ben brings it to Daniel's attention. Something about a severed head, and they say about whose severed head it was. That's what. So Ben knows about this severed head. How does Ben know? Well, there could be many explanations. Ben was a servant of Angelique's. Maybe he knew about it through her. Maybe he was told about it. Nope, he was there. He's we're to believe that Ben Stokes had such a long lineage that his ancestors heard about it. He heard about it, etc., etc. Somehow, which is crazy. But hey, it's Dark Shadows. Um, Daniel remembers it too. Daniel remembers it too. And really, this is just passed down from a book. So again, maybe they read about it more than others had, but it begs the question: why not talk about it? Why not tell your other family members, "Hey, we cut the head off a warlock," and you might want to know about that since we're, especially when you know, and they all, the whole house knew that Quentin, the 1840 Quentin, um, collected very, very weird artifacts, like very occult art, like occult artifacts, and so did Desmond. They both liked it. Well, if you have family members who are collecting occult artifacts, don't you think you maybe need to pull them aside, like, hey, come here, come here. There's this severed head out there. Don't buy it. Ever. It's sort of like the Gremlin. It's sort of like the movie The Gremlins. Don't feed it after midnight. Don't get it wet. Well, just don't buy the severed head in the box. Um, but Desmond does, and he brings it home, and it's the severed head of Judah Zachary, who's pissed off with the Collins family for getting his head cut off. So it's easy to understand why records are altered, right? I hope I've explained that for the against argument. The other against argument is maybe certain records just honestly got lost. And that could be, and that's why we know very little about Isaac and Amadeus. Could be. It's a possibility. The older the records, the more they tend to get lost. Things do happen. Hurricanes knock over ships that may be carrying certain records. So, and maybe they just say, oh, okay, we'll just say we're near England. We don't have to put it precisely where we're from. Who's going to give a shit? There could have been that conversation. Now, whether there was or wasn't, I have no idea. None of us know. Again, it's going to be so cool, you know, if this sequel series happens, because there's so much there's so much meat on the bone for Dark Shadows. It's not even funny. And my sort of final counterpoint to this is, I've said records could have just got lost, which they could have. My final counterpoint to this is that they may not be from space because simply they're too human. I mean, maybe you could say they're from a planet that maybe where they resemble humans and have human DNA, partial human DNA, but there's some alien in them. Maybe there is. We don't know. Um, they make very human-like mistakes. Again, they could just be from a planet where where their race of being make human-like mistakes. Again, there's art. It's very interesting to me, most of all, that the decisions to lie are very interesting and what they're lying about. Um, it, the episode we all just did, me, Christine Pierce, Cara Tilly's, Gordon Demowski, and Patrick McRae all did, 718, where Angelique and Barnabas are having a conversation about. Uh, Barnabas says, "Well, Quentin Collins will still be bricked up in his room," and she goes, "Will he? Like you know that for certain? No, you don't. You've already changed things." And Barnabas hasn't been there that long, so them messing with time too. There's that aspect. They've messed with time enough that they've literally changed the course of history. And again, the Dark Shadows multiverse, I do think is a huge possibility. Um, I don't mean just parallel time. I mean there's multiple layers of dimensions of Dark Shadows characters out there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun recording it. So almost 30 minutes, Jesus. You guys have a great day.